Welcome to the Uncle Hack Podcast, where dudes pretty much just talk dude shit.
Welcome to another episode of the Uncle Hack Podcast. Living, loving, laughing. That's what we do around here, right, gentlemen? Right, lads? We get out there, we shake our willies, we do what's necessary to be the best gender we possibly can. And in this episode, we're going to dive into that, I think. We're going to dive into that. There seems to be some controversy floating around a certain someone that just so happens to be one of the greatest swimmers of all time, okay? One of the greatest swimmers of all time. And I'm not talking about Michael Phelps, you know? There's a few gold medals in there, but like, is he breaking barriers? Is he pushing against the societal norms that we've set in front of everybody? No. It takes a strong woman to do that. We're going to talk about Lia Thomas today and my thoughts on it, okay? I just, and then we'll dive into some other stuff later. New way of sending in the fan question, okay? Down in the description down below, there is a Google Forms, and you just take a little voice recording of yourself. You got a problem, send it in. Don't call in no more. Don't call me. I don't need you having my number. That's not actually my number. It's an internet number, but we got rid of that. We made a Google form so that way you can just submit it. It's anonymous. I don't have your number. I don't have your email. I don't have anything really other than your submission. And because I have a feeling like some people are a little more reluctant to call, and it's easy just to give a voice recording. And submit it. I just seen a text pop up on this computer. One day I'm going to figure out technology, and it's going to be fascinating. We got new things coming with the Danger Cats era, okay? There's a revelation, a shift, a full moon. It's now come to a head where it's full bore, baby. We're going to be writing more. We're going to drop a few things. Probably get rid of the live stream. This week will be the last live stream that we're going to do, and we're going to charge forward on creating some really funny, hard-hitting content, because I feel, and I've said this numerous times, and it's just like putting the pieces in place and the right people, the right time, and the time is now, okay? There's a war going on inside our heads, right? What's real? What's fake? Is Zelensky actually telling the Russian troops that they're doing better than the Ukrainian? Is it really true that President Zelensky said, hey, put your guns down, Ukrainian soldiers, and submit to the Russians? That is warfare. We are in the metaverse. You are living in the metaverse. Accept it. Move on. Okay. It's been a hell of a 2 years, and I am a full-blown advocate. We just need to cool it and get out there and fuck, right? I talk about that way too much because that's my brain. It's just, what are you focused on? Sniz. Like every other knuckle dragger that listens to this garbage that I spew every Thursday at 3 p.m., right? You come on here, you allow me in your head for an hour. An hour a week, unless you're on the Patreon, patreon.com/DangerCat69. You get an extra episode every week. Simple little plug right there. And then I'm in your head for an hour more, right? But we have thoughts, we have opinions on this show. We speak our mind a little bit. Too many say that, heck, you tell the truth. It's like, well, no, that is not true. I loved what you did. That's my favorite thing. Over the weekend, we were at the Boat and Sportsman show here in Edmonton. Old dudes, this is the thing with old guys that follow this, right? Every old blue-collar guy over the age of, 37. 37 is when you start forming this, new personality of, exactly what to do. You now possess the information in your skull that you can give to the fellow beside you to become the man that he needs to be, right? I hear all the time, you know what you need to do? That they always give this like very open-ended, loose advice. You know what you need to do is you just need to try harder. This is like, I'm just telling you, you got to try harder. And then they live in the past, right? You got to try harder to succeed more, but don't change too much that, you know, I don't like it, right? Like, for instance, I always hear, I really liked when you did all those Trudeau videos, you know? Like, I really liked when you did those. I wish you did more of them. No. I'm trying to be a better comedian, not the same comedian, you know? I'm trying to further myself. Now, I understand it's difficult when the end of the road, you just hit a dead end and there's a T intersection. And over on this side, right, you come to a head and you got to make a decision on whether you want to go you want to go left, and left is marriage, kids, possible divorce in the future, alcoholism. Maybe you find a new young bimbo that's going to spend all your money as you live in a one-bedroom apartment in your local hometown, barely affording rent. You now come to a nicotine addiction, and life is really, really, really kicking you in the balls, right? It's really fucking got you down. So there, you become a bitter. You become bitter. Your outlook on life isn't the same what it was with that youthful experience that you were having when you were getting pussy. You know, maybe you started balding. You started fattening up a little bit. You're not the strong young ox that you once were, and you live in the past, and you're like, fuck, I just need to get my shit together, man, and maybe fucking, you know, like, oh, you're always telling everybody what you plan on doing, but never really put the steps in motion to go down that road, right? We all know those people. They exist. They're all in your lives. I know for a fact that a lot of you sit there and you tell all these ideas that sit inside your head, but nobody, and like, you know, you get drunk. You know, one day I'm going to go down there to Arizona and play that golf course that I always really want to play there. The old man's got a house down there, so I might just go down there, Lake Havasu, maybe fucking throw my cock in the old river there and see how she feels on it, right? Let's let the balls float for a little while there and fuck, have a good time. You know, maybe go swing the clubs with the old man like we did when we were kids, right? Maybe rekindle an old flame that we call a relationship, a little father-son bond. And so there's that path, right? The left-hand side is just destruction, self-destruction. There's alcoholism, maybe a little drug abuse, a divorce. The kids aren't really, they're like, Dad's a little bit of a fucking, he's off the deep end right now. We're going to let him figure it out for the next 5 to 7 years until I graduate. Then we'll rekindle what we call a relationship, the father-son bond. On the right-hand side is the dream chasing, you know. Yes, the entrepreneurial spirit, where, you know, every guy in a crew truck seems to have a business idea in his head that just doesn't quite get off the ground, but they put their they're really trying. They're trying to get it going. You know, you sit there and be like, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to invent. I always used to hear a guy tell me about a tool that he's going to invent. All I got to do is just invent a tool that every crew truck needs, right? He would tell me this all the time. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I don't know what it is yet. Well, you let me know when you figure that out. But that right there is the spirit that you look for, you know? Just a blind man in a forest trying to figure out, like, fucking staring at a compass, even though there's just blindness. It's just sheer darkness. No clue or idea where he is. Skirts death like you wouldn't believe. Every time that you think that this guy might possibly die, you know, he's the one guy at the house party that you bought a bag of coke off the local drug dealer in some off just bush town and in the middle of nowhere where you're pipelining, right? 3 out of the 8 people drop dead from fentanyl being cut into the coke, and he wasn't one of them. And he's skirted this like 5 or 6 times. Fuck yeah, man. I don't know how that didn't happen to me by now. Like, fuck, we were out there in Wabasca, fucking, you know, wherever. North Dakota, right? And fucking buddy knocks back a big old hog, drops dead right on sight. Fucking then the next guy. And I figured, well, maybe it's just good coke, and I hit it. I didn't hit the deck. I don't know what's going on. Right? This guy skirts death, always has business ideas. And there's a dream that exists inside that guy's skull. You almost respect it more than the fact that this gentleman right there, you look at him like an idiot, but you're really choosing which side you want to go down. And it can be rather difficult once you hit that crossroads. And that seems to be like the audience that is a little bit older, the younger generation that follow this brand, follow this podcast, follow the stand-up, and they're young and docile, which I enjoy, because there's no really opinions being made. They're just being like they're just curious. Like, what do you do for a living? Like there's just questions that you got to answer over and over and over again. And that's like 24 and younger, anywhere from 23 to like 33. Those guys are just like, oh yeah, that's awesome. They don't care. They got their own shit going on. I got way more things to worry about rather than this jackass that does a podcast every Thursday at 3 p.m. and calls all of us faggots for an hour. I could give a fuck what's floating around inside his head, which I respect even more, because those guys are just like, fuck off. I like what you're doing, but just leave me alone, right? Leave me alone. I just got a few little questions. How you doing? Oh yeah. It's like typical shop talk before everybody has 9 beers in them, How's the kids? Then everybody gets drunk, and then that's when the fun starts happening. It always takes like 2 hours to get everybody in the groove, I've been to a few of those. I remember my ex would take me to like shop parties where I didn't quite know anybody, and there's like a feeling in the air. You can sense it. It's like when when you watch those videos of like a fleet of hyenas, and they just like, they can see like, oh, there's a herd of buffalo down there, and there's a weak one, right? That sense that there's something brewing in the air, and the buffalo are just kind of sitting there like looking around. They can't quite feel it. The sense of danger hasn't quite hit them yet, because the hyenas are really good at hiding. That's the beers, right? The beers are the hyenas, and you are the buffalo, and you're sipping beers, and you're doing the dumb shit like, oh, what do you do for a living? Oh, yeah, right on. Oh, you work out there at Shell, eh? Oh, that's cool. Yeah, fuck yeah. Oh, no, what kind of truck you drive? Oh, I drive a Chevy. Oh, yeah, I like it Chevy. I like Chevy. Yeah, Chevys are good. Yeah. What motor in it? You just go down those steps, and then finally it gets to the place and be like, yeah, one time I skull fucked a hooker in the middle of the street down there in Buffalo, New York. What? Well, let's dig into that. Why didn't you open with that? How much did you pay to skull fuck her? Oh, fuck, it's a good question. I think I got robbed. But you got your dick sucked? Yeah, I got my dick sucked. I know I got my dick sucked because there was a video on my phone, and I still had my phone but no wallet. So I assume, and he's piecing the story together, and it's like, hey, open with that. Can we cut the fucking, what truck do you drive? I drive a truck. I like a truck. Don't you like a truck? Yeah, I don't mind trucks. They're not the worst, but they're not that fun to talk about, okay? Let's get into the stories. Let's hear your history. Her story. That's the fun conversations. And it always takes, like, when you go to a house party or a shop or a gathering where the missus takes you to all these people that you don't know, you got to fucking pussyfoot around everything, and I hate that so much. It annoys the shit out of me. It's like, oh, yeah, what do you do for a living? Oh, fuck, yeah, yeah, I already covered that, but that's like the frustration I have with that. Like, dudes, you hit a point where you're just fucking boring. Young guys, like, that's why I almost enjoy I like being in the vicinity of young people having fun and hearing their conversation. And you look at it like, they're dumb. Oh, yeah, look at it, fucking idiot. But then, like, take a step back and hear the conversations that you're having with your wife's friends. They're boring as hell. Those young guys are just like, hey, did you hear the new Juice WRLD album? And then all of a sudden they're like, yeah, fucking Rebecca showed me your tits last night at the rave. And they get, oh, fuck, they get right into it. They just have these, like, weird, no filter, don't hold back. But the shitty thing is the stories suck. They haven't quite perfected the art of storytelling, where, like, now as like an elder gentleman, you've now told the story so many times, it's exactly like comedy. You tell the joke over and over and over again, and you fine-tune the story until it's just, and you pull that sucker out at any little house party where the women are over at that table, over there, out of earshot, and then the fellas are like sitting in the basement watching fucking sports highlights or, you know, playing darts in the garage, sitting around smoking cigarettes in some old, around an old kitchen table. There's always like a dude, you're about to throw the kitchen table out from the first house that you bought because your wife is just like looking at this table and be like, well, we can't have that. Somebody carved a pentagram right in the middle of it. Is that where you want the kids to eat, right beside Satan? And you're like, fuck. Well, can we just put like let's put the old table in the garage. It'll be a great smoking table, you know? Yeah, that's a great table to have in the fucking garage. That's a perfect table to have in the garage where me and the fellas can sit around and smoke cigarettes, talk about old war stories when we were deep in the trenches, back partying in nightclubs and shifting around hot dog stands, you know, trying to pick a fight. It's a perfect table. Everybody, if those tables could talk, right? Am I right, gentlemen, or am I right? There's always a shop with a shitty old kitchen table from like 1993. And it's like that kind of shittier stained wood, very, what would be the color? It's like a light brown, you know, every home in like from 1996 to like 2003, it was the trendy thing at the time. And that table holds a lot of memories, a lot of stories. Oh, you remember when Jerry got so drunk that he fell out of his chair, pissed his pants, and called his wife a cunt? Oh, God, those were the good old days. I hope he does that again sometime so we got something new to fucking talk about. Oh, man. But yeah, anyways, there's my rant. But I do find it funny that the suggestions of elder gentlemen to me, don't quit what you're doing, but you should go back to doing what you were doing before. But I know to progress that you got to do new things, but you should do the old stuff just better. Pardon me? That's male advice. It's shitty, you know. I shouldn't say male advice is shitty. Just like the overall, like the umbrella of male advice is usually like outspoken guys aren't that smart. So then like you're taking advice from an idiot, and then it's always the quiet one that pulls you aside for like 2 minutes and just tells you some old proverb or some some quote, you know, like the old bull and the young bull, one of those type little situations. And there's like a hidden message in there that you don't figure out until 3 years later when you made all the mistakes that he was trying to stop you from making. And then you're like, and then he always said, see, I told you. I knew you'd figure it out. Oh, did you? So while this was all happening, why didn't you stop me from doing all this dumb shit? You knew the woman that I was about to be married to was a whore and sucking off the local mechanic while I was out of town welding pipe in the middle of fucking nowhere, and you knew this information. Oh, well, I knew you'd figure it out. Well, thanks a lot. I'm glad I figured it out. 2 children later, now I'm tied to her. Now she's getting dicked down by another gentleman in the town, and I got to wear this, like, fucking cloak of shame. This invisible cloak of shame as I walk around and everybody stares at me, you know, like, because in a small town, big city, it doesn't really matter. You're going to bump into somebody once every 3 years. Small town, it's different. You got to, like, mingle with the people, and they all know what's going on with you, but nobody has the nuts to address it and be like, hey, dude, you doing all right? No, they just, like, stare at you and be like, oh, fuck, and then go home and tell the wife or fucking tell the husband, you're not going to believe who I seen at Sobeys today. Yeah, he don't look like he's doing good, eh? Fuck, he don't look like he's doing good. This is a rant. It's almost like, oh, Hack, what is happening to you? You got a lot of energy today. You know what? I'm going to be honest. I'm going through, like I said, a little bit of a revelation right now, and we're dropping a few things. I feel like less stress is like, you know, we're doing stand-up shows, which, speaking of, April 9th, we are here in Edmonton for a Danger Cats roast battles to Sam Walker and Alicia Schneider, heavyweight match, title match going down. Edmonton, Alberta, station on Jasper. Tickets available at dangercatshop.com. I am in the the tournament to find the new number one contender for the title. You know what? I disappoint every time. I get through the first round and then I struggle in the second. The last one, I took on Brett Forte, where I was in the battle, and I got to say, he mopped me up. I came a little unprepared. It is what it is. I'll take it on the chin and move forward from it, because I'm an athlete. And like every great athlete, sometimes you got to change it up a little bit. You got to move forward. You got to persevere through all the noise, all the bullshit. And just like those athletes, we are going to talk about Lia Thomas, okay? Lia Thomas. NCAA championship performance gives women's sports a crucial opportunity. Exactly. A crucial opportunity for us gentlemen to be the athletes that we were meant to be. You remember those days? You played, Little League Baseball, lost in the championship, and now things are a little doom and gloom. Sports aren't really looking, a Div 1 scholarship is kind of out of the question. Well, Lia Thomas was ranked, I believe, 432nd in men's swimming. And a window of opportunity opened up. And you want to know what Lia did? See, this is how progressive I am. I'm not going to dead name her. I'm not going to do these things. I'm woke now. Like I told you, I'm woke now. I'm progressive now. Do you understand? So Lia saw a window of opportunity that something was in the air. All right? Something was there. And took that opportunity and became the number one swimmer in fucking female swimming. Hey, bad verbiage right there. My apologies. Doesn't make for good radio. But hear me out. Hear me out. Anyone who cares about the advancement of sports and women's sports in particular should celebrate her win. And you know what? I agree. I agree with that little subtext below the headline that they just wrote on NBC News. NBC News is reporting this. Who is the journalist behind this? Cheryl Cookie, Purdue University professor of American Studies and Women's, Gender, and Sexuality Studies. You know what? God bless her. God bless Cheryl. Is Cheryl transsexual? Let's find out. Oh. Search Google for Cheryl. Cheryl research interest. Gender, sport, media, feminist theory, feminist methodology. Okay. That is so fucking double agent, if you ask me. You know what I mean? That's a double agent. This is funny to watch. Totally not related to what we're about to get into here, but it is funny watching feminists tiptoe around this because they're all like for women progression, and now that like there's mixed feelings in the air. It's like, man, it's like changing your favorite sports team to your rival, right? Because feminism this whole time has been like, men suck, patriarchy, take it down. I'm not pulling my panties down for no man. I'm not pulling my panties down for no man. As women, we take a stand. That can be an anthem. You can take it. I get it. I'm a cisgendered male. You might not want that, but you can remix it to your own. Call it yours. I don't care. It's all for you. If I hear that in the streets, I'm happy that I could contribute to the feminist movement. But it is funny watching feminists kind of tap dance and try and figure out how they can progressively move in these waters, right? It's like, it reminds me of like my cousin Hooven, right? My cousin Hooven, diehard Flames fan, up until the age of about 15, and jumps ship to become an Oilers fan. Now, for those that aren't hockey fans, that would be like being a Red Sox or a Yankees fan and switching to, vice versa. That is like criminal. That is a jail sentence here in Alberta anyways. Same within the state of like New York or Boston. If you're a Yankees fan and you switch to being a Red Sox fan, I'd imagine murders happen for this type of stuff. And here you have women advocating for like dudes that transitioned into females, and now there's like murky waters. They don't know quite how to like sift around it. So it's like, do you swim upstream and be like, well, this is a little much, and then all of a sudden like, whoa, because all the progressive woke people will be like, well, what do you mean? And you can't get grouped in with like Republican, and I say that in quotation, type thinking, because then it's like, well, are you a Trump supporter? What the fuck is this? What are you gonna make America great again? And you start getting just fucking slammed online by all this weird wokeness. You get what I mean? Like, there's just like, it's such a fucking mental gymnastics. Like, you're trying to, it's exactly like in the movies. Remember in the movies, like the first that comes to mind is like Jay and Silent Bob, and they're like going to steal the diamond while those two idiots are like stealing monkeys for the cause that they lied to. And the ladies are like in the fucking diamond lab, and they got to like get through all the lasers, It's like jumping around through those lasers that will set off the alarms. And if you just tweet the wrong thing, all of a sudden it's like, wee, transphobic. And then the mob comes after you, and that'd be the security gentleman. And so it's like funny watching them tiptoe around and like seeing what move they got to do to get through the lasers and make sure they say the correct thing at the correct time so they can hold the diamond, the golden crown of wokeness, the progressive queen that you desire to be. So it is fucking hilarious. Oh, God. Let's get into this. On Saturday, University of Pennsylvania swimmer Lia Thomas placed last in her 100-yard freestyle swim during the NCAA championship, ending her career in collegiate swimming. A last place showing at an NCAA swim meet, even a championship one, would not typically garner national headlines. Yet, Thomas has been at the center of controversy regarding her eligibility to compete in women's events. See, that tells me there's still a little bit of dude left in her, okay? Because you know what? Like, remember when you'd go on a date? Remember your first date with the old lady, and if you went and played like you went bowling, you went to the arcade, and there was you play like air hockey against her, and you just kind of let her win to be like, because like the end goal isn't to smash her 9-0 on the air hockey table. You're doing literally anything you possibly can to make her feel good and make her believe that you're a good mate. That is like, see, like this is the same thing but twisted a little bit, and be like, listen, I'm still like a female ally. I'm one of you. I'm like trying to draw you in to see like, hey, we're all the same around here, right? It's the same thing. They're like, it's the same play, different game. You know what I mean? You might use a different strategy when you're playing Call of Duty compared to Warzone, and that's the best way I can put it. So she just like. She deliberately loses to be like, look, like, holy shit, these ladies can still beat me. Holy Christ. Oh, my God. I find that funny. So there's like a little bit of dude left in her. That's what I'm taking out of that, right? There's a little bit of dude brain left in her. Well played, I will say. Well played. This is not taking a dig at Lia, okay? I'm woke, not dead naming. The controversy came to an apex last week at the NCAA championship when she became the first openly trans athlete to win a Division I championship in any sport. For anyone who cares about the advancement of sports, and women's sports in particular, her win should be celebrated. That's funny. Plants the flag as a feminist and be like, look, she just passed like a new laser right there. It was like, zoom. That one just like skirted by like a blouse collar, like I'm wearing a flannel right now, and that would have just like zipped off woo, that was close. Maybe a couple hairs got burnt, a little smoke in the air. We tiptoed through that one, didn't we? That's funny. That is so funny. This controversy came to an apex last week at the NCAA championship. I just read that. My bad. Women's sports are situated at a paradoxical intersection wherein sex segregation is upheld through claims of biological difference. Yet equality is prefaced on being treated the same and given the same opportunities as men. Well, there's no like trans men competing with... all right, calm down. You trying to be progressive or are you trying to be one of these fucking fascists? What's wrong with you, hack? If we are to change this, we need to ask some important questions. How does one advocate for equitable treatment while also adhering to the notion of biological difference? If separate is not equal in the case of school, bathrooms, restaurants, or other social situations, can separate ever truly be equal in the case of sports? Would gender-based discrimination in sports be eradicated if sports were gender integrated? You know what? By all means, hey, fuck yeah. You know what? I remember one time hearing this story where the Canadian women's team, the Canadian women's hockey team, would play like midget A or midget AA, midget AAA teams all across Canada, so that way they could get ready for the Olympics and train and compete. So that's like where the level is, you know. Full-grown women play like 15-year-old boys. 15, 16-year-old boys. That's the playing field, which I'm game for. And one of the ladies walked into the locker room prior to the game and told these young boys, right, which I think was a phenomenal move on her behalf because it's going to make the game better, by saying, listen, don't play us any different than you would any of the teams in your league. And of course, being a young boy, right? And I'm not saying I was on this team. This is just what I was told from, a parent whose child was playing in the league. And one of these young boys took an opportunity or took liberty on one of these young lasses that stepped up and caught a suicide pass at the red line and completely ripped her head off. So now it was like, okay, we did say that. Now these ladies are a little chapped, right? It's like, hey, whoa, what? When we said that, we didn't quite mean that. So when we say we want to integrate sports, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Entertaining as hell. This is hilarious that she should be embraced in the history of progress that sports represent and is recognized as a trailblazer. How many dudes right now are just scratching their head thinking like, shit, I can make it? I can make it. This is the most attention female swimming has ever got. Let's be honest, right? Let's call a spade and tell it how it is. Never, right? I've never been like sifting through the internet, the World Wide Web, and thought to myself, what are the rankings in Division I swimming? And now I'm talking about it. So might be a little more funding in the budget this year for female sports. That's all I'm saying. The fellas that are, shit, fuck. Can't quite hack it with the big dogs up there in the dude swim. All I got to do is lob the cock. I don't use it anyways, right? I'm out here. I got no game. I'll lob the hog. Go and swim a fucking 100 meter in 3.2 and smash these bitches. Get myself a fucking Div 1 title. That's just good thinking in my mind. You know what? Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is what's happening right now, and I find this funny. Is like what women are going through right now is exactly what white dudes went through when black dudes started playing in like Major League Sport or Major League Baseball, fucking football. When we started integrating sports, this is exactly what's happening right now. You know, coaches are stoked. They're like, fuck yeah, we're winning championships. We're fucking crushing these bitches. I'm all about this, right? Same reason like when Jackie Robinson came into the majors and everybody was like, oh, damn it. And like there was white guys that were all for this. Like The white dudes that had him on his team and didn't get cut, they were like, fuck yeah, bring him on. Hell yeah. The ones that were still good enough to be on the team when the black dude showed up, they're like, yep, we're into this. Where there was like bitter, there was bitter dudes that just kind of, this is where we really grabbed a strong hold on racism for a hot minute. Don't worry, we're not going fucking down that path. I'm just saying, there's a correlation between the two right now that I find hilarious. It's like women are like, well, what the hell? What the hell is going on here? What, things weren't good enough how they were? You know? The coaches are like, yeah, whoa. Don't listen to her. Listen to my championship fucking star right here, right there. Fucking put her on the cover of the Wheaties box, okay? We're out here crushing it right now. We're killing it. Pennsylvania State, put it, you better ask somebody, you know? You better ask somebody when we come through at the swim meet, bitch. You little pussy. What you gonna do? Swim faster than me? Oh, right, you can't. Because this bitch has a size 12 foot, and it's basically like a flipper on the goddamn end of those stilts. You know what I mean? It's like a fucking 3-foot height advantage. I could just reach out and touch the wall way before you bitches, you know? I just find that so funny. And maybe I'm wrong for saying it, you know? I was working a bit out on stage about it last night, and there was like, whoa, buddy, what are you doing? Why are you dipping your toes in that water? I'm just saying, that's what white guys went through. Right now, there's like a couple more black dudes getting into hockey, and it's starting to like, hey, some of them are pretty fucking good. We can't deny that, you know? We cannot deny that. But when you date it back to the Jackie Robinson era, hey, things were a little different back then, right? You couldn't quite drink out of the same water fountain, right? I'm just saying, there was different. We seen the movie Life with Eddie Murphy, right? We seen the movie Life with Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence. Remember when they go in and there was pies for the black dudes and pies for the white dudes? Or you remember that scene? How much to turn that, you know, white pie into a pie? We ain't going there. I wish I had like a fucking beep button in that I could say it. But I don't want to put it on public record, so that way maybe I do get a little famous. Maybe I do grab a fucking, start charging down the road, and I find myself in a compilation video like old Joey Rogan, you know? We don't need that, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about white dudes getting replaced by the black gentlemen because they were better at sports, you know? They were better at sports. It made the game better, did it not? We're seeing that. We're seeing a lot of similarities between the two, is what I'm getting at. This is what I'm trying to tell you, is that, I'm going very Tucker Carlson on you. This is what I'm trying to tell you. Female sports have been lacking. Now, we just needed transgender females to really bring the sports back. Now, the attention is all on Lia Thomas. Basically, what this article is saying is she is the Jackie Robinson of swimming. I don't know how you feel about that, but at the Million Mega March... oh, shit. The NCAA approved its first policy on inclusion of trans athletes in collegiate athletics in 2011. The policy allowed trans females, student athletes, to compete on women's teams if they had been treated with testosterone suppression medication for at least 1 year. The most recent update in January aligns with the changes to the policies of the United States Olympic and Paralympic Committee and the International Olympic Committee, which place the responsibility for eligibility criteria on an individual sport and its governing bodies. Wow. I don't know. Quite honestly, let's be real. Let's cut it how it is and say what it is. There's how many female swimmers in NCAA right now, right? How many female swimmers are in there? Now I get, as you go down, there's more and more swimmers that are fighting for those positions, okay? But let's call it as it is, right? We got to call it as it is every single time because that's what we do on this show. We don't like to fuck around, tiptoe around bullshit. We like to get to the point and tell it as it is. That's the beauty of this show. So, like, there's probably people that actually care about this. There's probably like 2% of the population. Right now, this is just a talking point. For liberals, it's like, oh, anything that comes up with any sort of restriction, mass mandates, vaccines, they're like, well, there's a war going on in Ukraine. And they use that as their crutch to fucking be like, well, to divert the attention to somewhere that does not even matter or affect them. I have a friend who ate a pierogi one time, and they have been majorly affected by this because, well, they enjoy pierogies. That's why I stand with Ukraine. They got better food. So this right now is like the talking head or the talking point, not talking head. Talking head would be me. Okay. Anyways, talking point for like conservative dudes to like, and like quite honestly, if you sat there and really thought about it, do you give a shit? Do you honestly give a shit? It's like the Ukraine-Russia thing. I sat back tried to think about like, do I care? I'm like, it's kind of funny that they're trying to like blame everything that Russia invading Ukraine is why gas prices are so high here. And this is why the cost of living is going in inflation because, you know, we get everything from Russia. Russia is the major producer of every little thing that we need. You know, when you buy bananas, you want to know where they come from? Russia, because the Congos sell them to Russia, and the Congo, it's just a big web of trade between Russia and us, and that's why inflation's going through the roof, and China's holding back, and they sell it to Russia. You know, there's just like a string of bullshit always going down, so you just need something to be mad at. And right now, the thing to be mad at, and I'm not trying to be like, oh, well, you know, trans athletes are in there, but do you care? You know? Do you care? When you're flipping through the TV guide and you're like looking at sports, is the first thing that you think of is like, oh, there's NCAA swimming. You want to know why you don't even know why there's NCAA swimming? Because they don't even put it on the fucking TV guide. That's why. They don't even put it on the TV guide because you want to know how many people would watch that? 0. That's why. Nobody would watch that. They could put it on Sportsnet, a little clip, right? They would put a little clip of women's and be like, everybody be like, oh, I just want to watch the goddamn football highlights. Now I got to watch this bitch swim 100 fucking meters. Congratulations. You can do a basic human skill great. What do you want me to do about it? Get my fat ass out of this chair, go down to Pennsylvania State, boo, in the stands while I'm hammered, trying to teach my daughter a lesson about why you need to be great. This is why you need to quit swimming, because men are going to take over, and that's who we watch play sports. We watch the dudes play sports. That's what we do in this family. We don't watch you. You think I like going down to your little ballet class while you tiptoe around? You suck at it. I don't care about dancing. I'm white as hell. I don't dance. A two-step. But I do find it funny. Is like this is the thing that's getting everybody. Why the fuck? Because like. The only one that I could genuinely say get a pass to be really pissed is like, the girls that were on that podium, they should be fucking livid. I would be so chapped. I'd be like, fucking, are you kidding me? I gotta swim against fucking old Michael Dwelps over here. Look at this. Jesus Christ. Fucking, it's like there's a 9-foot height advantage. What do you want me to do here? Christ. And like the parents could be pissed because like, I get it. You probably on a Div 1 scholarship, so you're not paying for school. But like dad just put all those years and he's like focused because he was a failed athlete, right? He tried baseball, didn't quite make it, got to like, you know, the minors, got to like the AA minors and couldn't quite crack it in the big leagues, had to retire. Now he's selling fucking used Kias down in Portland fucking or somewhere in Oregon. You know, life's not too great. We're not living in a sunshine state in a giant mansion, what he had planned in his head because he was crushing home runs, playing Div 1 fucking baseball, got drafted, and then he just rotted in the minors until the wife like gave him an ultimatum. Either you're with me or chase your little fucking baseball dream. So he's like, all right, I guess I'll go sell couches for your old man. And now, like, put all his time and effort to make his daughter the number one fucking swimmer. She likes swimming. All right, let's get training. We're back in the groove, baby. I'm coach now. And then this is the opportunity she had to win a Div 1 championship, and then just some knuckle-dragging lug that couldn't crack it in men's swimming all of a sudden lobs the hog off and just, like, mops up. And then I would be like, fuck! I just can't win! Why? Why, God, do you punish me? Smite me, almighty smiter. You know? Then I could see, like, that is, like, the grounds of being mad. But, like, there's just too many, like, fat slobs that didn't amount to shit talking on the internet. They're like, whoa, what the fuck? It's fun to make fun of. Don't get me wrong. I know I'm not going to sit here and be like the fucking, oh, you know, let her swim. I could care less. That's where I'm at. I'm trying to be as honest with myself as I possibly can later. And I read this, and all I could do was laugh. And these were the things I was thinking of. It's just like, women are going through what white dudes went through, you know, back in the 50s, 60s, when black players were allowed to play in the league in America's game, right? And now it's not as fun as you thought, you know? You go, hey, we're always telling white guys to shut the fuck up. Now, well, as a white dude, I just got to sit back and be like, hey, I'm like the guy that was like, hey, I can fucking, you know what, man? You just got to keep doing what you're doing. That's me right now. Just keep doing what you're doing. I'm using the advice of like drunks at a trade show as I'm trying to sell fucking T-shirts to them, right? Hey, buy a little Cats merch. You want to support my career? You want to support my thriving career in comedy? Get a T-shirt. Take it home to the wife. I'm sure she'll love that it says heavy drinking and heavy women on it. I'm sure that it would excite her so much that you're going to wear that out in public, or a blackface Trudeau hoodie. You know, that would excite the hell out of her, knowing her husband's taking a political stance in the lineup at the dollar store. And the purple-haired girl making minimum wage who has like 30,000 karma points on Reddit is going to secretly snap a photo of you to publicly shame you to a thread that you don't even know exists, right? And they're just going to trash that asshole that I love, by the way. I love the asshole wearing I'm a big fan of it. Now, I'm just making fun of situations so fucking everybody, you say that type of shit. Everybody's taking what I say too fucking literal lately. Cool it, okay? Cool it. That's all I'm telling you. Just cool it for a second. Understand I'm fucking around, okay? I'm just pissing around a little bit. We're trying to have a little fun here, you know? Like when I say, old guys are the easiest because I don't think they understand I'm being sarcastic when I talk, right? I'm trying to be as sarcastic as possible, and I don't care, okay? I just want to make some fucking money so I can retire in Vietnam and have 2 Asian blonde prostitutes take care of me until I'm 70 and I fall over and die and they can have all my assets. That's what I want, okay? I want to make enough money that I can move my ass to somewhere where the cost of living is like 20 cents a day. And I can take care of these, I guess it would be vice versa. I will pay money, right, to 2 Asian hookers to dye their hair blonde, get them fake tits, and one will massage my feet while the other one, like, feeds me pho or some sort of Vietnamese dish. That's what I want. That's all I want in this world. I want to be an expat getting his hog sucked by who knows what their age is, you know? At that point, do I care? No, throw me in prison. I don't give a shit at that point. I'm a visiting tourist. It's legal. I'm joking, okay? I'm joking. For those that are going to take that out of context and be like, well, there you have it. Hack's a pedophile. That's good to know. Unsubscribed, pal. You want me to listen to your little podcast? Not anymore, okay? Fucking stop the seal. Stop the seal. Drain the swamp. That's what I'm fucking doing, pal. I'm coming here and I'll drain your little swamp. Try and talk about that shit. Well, it's in Vietnam. Vietnam? Oh, you think you're just going to go to Europe and have a good time, hey? Well, you're close, but I don't know. I just find it funny, okay? We don't got to... we're all too revved up right now, you know? That's why I'm saying, get out there and fuck. Go cheat on your wife and feel the guilt of that when you come home so you're forced to love her again. You know? That's what I'm saying. You know? Cheating husband is like, it's good for the family, you know? Because after X amount of years, your wife don't want to fuck you no more, right? She doesn't. It just becomes work. And just to lay there and take your half-hard hog while she's thinking about how much laundry she has to fold. Oh, the kids made a mess in the basement. I got to clean that up. If this guy could just hurry up. In your head, you're completely not even into it, you know? These old couples that are like still in love and they do these things, it's like you look at them in disgust as your marriage is falling apart. You're like, oh, God, I'm glad I'm not them. I'd rather cheat on my wife for the excitement so I have thrill again, you know? It's like it's like the dad that we were talking about earlier that gets the opportunity to like watch his kid become successful in sports because he didn't quite make it to where he wanted to be, right? There's thrill, there's excitement, engagement. You feel something again. It gives you something to live for, right? When you don't have that, you got to seek pleasure and excitement from other places. And if you're not getting it inside your marriage, where the fuck are you going to get it? That's why, you know, that's why you see these fucking gentlemen sitting in a bar and they're like 63, just alcohol abuse is fucking taking over their life, right? And they just stare into the void and they get hammered. Then, you know, they've been working the same job for 30 years. They've given up in their teens, for Christ's sakes. You know, first failed marriage happened at 33. They lost everything and had to rebuild again. And by the time they rebuilt, I'm 60 years old. I had to pay my wife out. I had to pay alimony until she got remarried. She didn't get remarried until she was 55. So here I sit. I don't even own property. I don't even own the vehicle that I have. It's still fucking on a loan. I'm still leasing this cocksucker. And it becomes bitter. So you don't have no thrill, no excitement because you've been just like barely squeezing by. And those that are in a marriage and it's like, it's all right. You know, it's all right. She gets her kicks of like raising children and, I don't know. I'd imagine that she's not excited about doing these types of things, but let's get rid of that in the background. Yeah, you know, like I don't think that she's excited about these things, but at least she has somebody that respects her enough. That being her children, where you, right? You enjoy the finer things of life, like barely legal pussy. That's a gamble that you're willing to take, you know? That's why you enjoy going on the New Orleans trip once a year. It's just a little golf trip with the fellas, right? It gets it out of your system. You come back, you have the guilt of cheat on you, and it makes you love your wife even more because you got away from her and you felt what's really out there, you know? What's really out there. And then the excitement is back a little bit and you, hey, babe, how are you? You know, because you're worried that it could possibly leak because you know that your friends are big mouths and you don't know which one is going to tell his wife. And it's always like that weird energy. They know that you're cheating. Everybody knows, but nobody quite tells. So then it creates an environment where you're forced to be a good husband by doing bad shit, right? You feel me on this one? This one's a little out there. I'm taking some wild takes today. We're talking about trans swimmers, guys that didn't quite make it, and bad advice from elder gentlemen that don't quite have their shit together. We're all over the map in this episode. And I think that's good. I got to keep you, the listener, on your toes this whole time. And speaking of, we didn't have any, I don't know what's going on with that fucking, I think that I didn't have any fan questions. And I also think that my, that number, that dial pad fucking thing that we have running, I think the subscription was ended and I was just like, I'm not renewing this. I found a different way of doing it. So fan question next week. If you got to this portion of the episode, please, there is a link down in the description down below and you can leave a voice memo for me. And we'll dissect your problems. I think that's a great segment on the show. We've had like some past callers that, you know, obviously, are suffering from mental illness and sitting inside reading way too many Facebook memes and making their political opinions based upon those false misinformation, right? Misinformation. That seems to be a big thing right now. I like that. You know what? Take it further. What can we make people believe? We've been doing it forever, right? We don't quite know history the way that it actually unfolded. They give you the bare bones and you got to go dig. Like, I didn't know, and I don't think a majority of people knew that the Nazis were really making some territory and getting some ground in Argentina, right? You probably didn't know that, and then you learn a little bit more. You're watching Hunting Hitler, World War II. That's the fascination that you get once you're like 25, because you're like, wow, a world power. Could you imagine? And right now, it's kind of happening in front of your eyes. Like, a lot of people don't really understand what's going on out there in the world. You know, we're arguing about. Should Kanye West be at the Grammys? These are important issues, right? We listen to celebrities sing us songs while the world is shutting down and they're in a 10,000 square foot mansion telling you, you know, we all will get through this together. We will all get through this together. Followed up by, you know, slam poetry written by the 90210 bitch, whatever her name is, trying to tell Putin that if she was just her mother, that things would have been a lot better. We would have been able to get through this, and we would have been able to maneuver through this world, and we would have this whole World War thing, the idea of World War III would just be a different country. You know, she would have been writing that poem about Xi Jinping, right? President Xi. That's who she'd be writing the poem about. But instead, you know, Putin has to be the cannon fodder of public hate. You know, we're putting him on the front lines and being like, this is the guy to hate right now. Buy Ukrainian merch. Okay, buy Ukrainian merch. AzovBattalion.com. Get your Ukrainian merch and support the guys on the front lines. That's the funny part about this, is like, I don't even know half of it, right? I take it for face value and I move the fuck on. You know, I'm getting excited over dudes taking over fucking female sports, because it's just proving once again how great we are at everything. Ladies, I'm sorry, you had your moment. You know, we gave you equality. We tried it out. We gave it a fucking run, right? At the end of the day, at the very best, you know, you were like, hey, equality exists now. Do whatever the fuck you want. We don't care. Show your pussy on the internet. And, you know, don't bitch if you want to be a bricklayer. I don't know. Yeah, well, we want to be CEOs. Well, not all of you are fucking CEO material. You're CEOs, okay? You know, just do what you do best, okay? Do what you do best. And whatever that is, I don't know. Okay, I'm really trying to understand where all of this is coming from. It's difficult for me. Forgive me, I'm a moron. What do I know? I'm an idiot, right? I'm a complete asshole. At the end of the day, listen to the wives listening to this in the truck, because I know some guys. It's funny because one guy walked by me on the weekend and he goes, "Yeah, we always listen to your podcast in the truck with her in it." Oh yeah, hell yeah, we do. And I could just tell by the look on the side of her, like the glance she gave him, is it's not an enjoyable hour for her. But because she loves him, she allows this audio to play in the pickup truck while they drive to wherever the hell they are going, because it makes them happy. 1 hour. 1 hour of listening to a fucking moron spew hot garbage into your speakers, and that's love, ladies and gentlemen. You know, that's equality. That's give and take. But I can tell, like, oh yeah, I know who you are. Your voice sounds familiar. That made me laugh. Your voice sounds familiar. We always listen to your podcast. Uh-oh. Well, your husband's an idiot. Why would he play this inside there, right? Why would he do such a thing to you? I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about. But thank you again for listening to another episode of the Uncle Hack Podcast. We're leaving you on a cliffhanger. And yes, DangerCatShop.com. Pick up a little Big Trudy. Support the best Prime Minister that this country will ever see, okay? No one could do it as great as Big Trudy. DangerCatShop.com. Use the code podcast69 for 15% off your order today. Patreon.com/DangerCat69. There's exclusive content. Volumes 1 through 3 of the roast battles are now live on our Patreon. We're going to work on putting more content on there and writing more sketches and more bullshit and putting it out in the wonderful universe.